What up, crew? It's Invisible Walls, episode 165 here on GameTrailers.com. E3 is officially over. Still working through our Best of E3 awards. We will talk about that in a second. But we do have a really solid show for you today. We have a ton of games to talk about, finally.
And a special non-guest.
Yeah, Marcus is actually out today, sick. Says he has some kind of a stunt. Everyone's doing the fist pump. Just kidding. Whoa. Just kidding, Marcus. We'll miss you today. But he is not on the show today. Hopefully he's recouping from his illness. But we do have a good crew here to talk to you about all the hottest games. Miguel Lopez is up in the squad.
Hello.
Justin Spear is back again. It's been quite a run for you, brother.
Hello.
Ryan, who you've already heard from, is also here today. And Daniel Bloodworth.
Hey.
We have a lot of games to talk about, so let's jump right into it.
Game Trailers, Best of E3 Awards 2011.
All right, so first we're going to go over our Best of E3 2011 awards. One thing I should probably say overall about the awards, I feel like this was one of the easiest years to pick nominees and winners. Am I wrong in that?
Because they were all sequels.
Yeah.
I'm just being an asshole.
But, you know...
No, things fell into place pretty easily. But
I think that's because there weren't as many games. Two, I feel like we were exposed more to each game than normally we would.
Yeah, definitely with the stream and everything.
Stream, just the demos on the floor. Usually they're 5 or 10 minutes. Now they're making us sit down for 30 to 40 minutes, which is good, honestly. It gives us a better understanding of the breadth of the game. And I think when we came back from the show, we had less games to worry about, and we knew more about each game, so it was much easier for us to all come to a consensus on these. And just so you know, typically how we do these is we gather all our information that we've gathered at the show. We all go into what we call a war room, and basically just sit and argue, discuss, blah, 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 each award.
It's like a 6-hour Invisible Walls.
Pretty much. It's not recorded and maybe a little more heated than some of them. But actually this year it was pretty easy. There weren't a whole lot of categories we were that conflicted over. I think the one category that we're catching the most flack for, and we always tend to kind of address this after our Best of E3 awards go up, is Best Graphics. I think everyone thought Battlefield 3 was a shoo-in just because, and I don't think they really looked at the showing that it had at the show. And so keep in mind that these awards are given based upon what happens at the show.
it would have won Best Turret.
Right. It would have won the award for most polygons or something like that. But Best Graphics is about a lot more than just, hey, this engine couldn't run on the PlayStation 3, so therefore Battlefield wins. That's not what it's about. It's about what is on the screen. And truth be told, I mean, we gave the award to Uncharted 3. I think anyone who questions that we gave that over Battlefield should go back and watch that tanker demo again.
Yeah.
And really start looking at and thinking about what is going on there. That is a whole level that is rocking back and forth with the real-time waves outside that never go away. Everything inside the boat is shifting and swaying with, I mean, technically...
I like seeing the water in the swimming pool kind of...
Oh, yeah, when you run past the pool and you see the water sloshing. I mean,
maybe it's a question of semantics a little bit. Like, graphics really kind of addresses it, but we're looking at, like, animation. We're looking at, you know, it's not just polygons and textures.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people...
But it's also not just art design or art style, but didn't... Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Kirby's Epic Yarn get graphics last year?
Yeah, it did, yeah.
So and we do look at that stuff, and we put a lot of weight into that as well. But even, I mean, you know, like you said, like the water's physics, the physics of something.
Well,
kind
every
of wraps
little
into
soda
the
can
graphics.
inside the boat is rolling back and forth with the waves.
And that all gets
and the
wrapped into there.
chandeliers inside are swaying, and the light. I mean,
But other than that, Uncharted sucks balls.
Yeah.
So.
So anyway, I think that's our explanation for Best Graphics. Battlefield 3, don't get us wrong, looks amazing. But Uncharted 3, man, it's just next level. Whether you're talking console or PC at this point, it's just an amazing looking game on pretty much.
Yeah, and I think
all
that's kind of like one of the misconceptions too. Is like people think that we're just like downing the PC because people
No
can't
way.
afford it, and it's like no, that's not what it's
nothing
about.
to do with it. It's what we saw at the show, which leads me into multiplayer, which was another controversial topic. Again, people...
It's Uncharted again?
Again, yeah, people chided us for choosing Uncharted over Battlefield 3. This is where we go again, back to the fact that it's what's shown at the show. So I saw a lot of comments saying, okay, well, you know, when these games come out, which are you going to spend more time playing? Well, truth be told, I'll be honest with you, I will probably play more Battlefield and more Modern Warfare 3 than I will of Uncharted. But the bottom line is they did not show hardly anything at E3. Battlefield showed a rush mode that lasted for 10 or 15 minutes. You know, Modern Warfare showed Spec Ops, which we've seen before. Uncharted showed a ton of multiplayer, and not only that, some pretty unique and cool and innovative multiplayer takes. So, again, it's not what you think is going to happen. Because what happens if DICE gets blown up and they don't finish the game? Obviously that's an extreme example, but it's just an obvious example of how you can't just reward something. Where did that come from?
You think? I don't know. Yeah, the Sony hacker got caught or something, right?
Or what happens if somebody hacks their servers and they lose all their code and have to start again? There's a million things that could happen. You can't give an award based upon what could happen or is likely to happen. You have to give an award on what has happened, and that's why Uncharted won those awards. Now, game of the show, obviously BioShock Infinite. I think that was a pretty unanimous choice among the editorial team. Wasn't much discussion on that.
Surprisingly, yeah, we all pretty much said yep.
Yep. And I think maybe there's some questions because Uncharted did win a lot of individual awards, but BioShock won game of the show. So I think what it is that BioShock has still got a long ways to go. We haven't seen a whole bunch of the game, but the pieces that we have seen it have literally blew us away more than any game at the show.
I think Miguel made a good point when you're kind of comparing the Skyhook stuff to Tony Hawk.
When I first saw that, it gave me the same feeling of how am I going to wrap my head around playing this kind of game that I got when I first saw something like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Portal 2. It gives you feel precarious. Immediately you feel as if it's something that you're going to have to rewire your brain for.
Almost intimidated.
Exactly.
On a certain level. You're like, am I going to be able to handle that?
Yeah.
But then it's kind of, then Ken Levine comes out and he's like, I hated the fucking PlayStation Move. And then we started using it as a control device for that crazy skyline hook stuff. And he's like, it totally works. And that just kind of whets your appetite even more. And I think the E3 demo is going to get released sooner or later. So people will understand why we are so
I think that's part of the problem
Infinite.
too.
So people haven't seen that demo that we saw.
There's only the 90-second clip from the Sony press conference.
Yeah, that's gonna. I think that's gonna make. I'm sure we're not the only ones to give it game of the show, but I think that's gonna make our decision a lot more clear,
a lot more obvious why it was chosen. And I can understand at this point why some people would be like, "Why you gave all these awards to Uncharted?" I get it. I think once they see what we saw of BioShock Infinite, they'll understand a little bit more. But otherwise, not a lot of tough decisions, I don't think, for Best of E3. Had a little discussion on, I think maybe one of the more controversial games across the whole set of awards was Street Fighter Cross Tekken. It seems like a lot of outlets really liked that game. I don't think anybody here was really high on it, though.
Justin, did you get to play it?
I didn't get to play it. Patrick played it. I think he's starting to read more stuff and get more interested, but that's kind of as he invariably does,
That's what he does every time.
This is trash. It's like,
Well, I'm kind of the same way on Need for Speed. I'm kind of down on the run for having the on foot stuff, and that's most disappointing as well. But the other stuff does sound pretty cool. And I was total role reversal last year with Hot Pursuit. I was not impressed with Hot Pursuit at E3. And then when it came out, I thought it was a fantastic game. So.
And truth be told, we're happy when games that we don't like at E3 end up being great. It's a pleasant surprise. It's nice to see a studio turn it around from that point to make something great. But then it also goes back to how was it shown? Maybe they made a mistake in how they showed it ultimately, and they didn't do a good job of representing
it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, with all the QuickTime stuff there.
I think Nintendo's getting a little bit of flack for that right now with the Wii U. A lot of people are kind of confused about what the hell it is, how it works, blah, blah, blah.
I heard it was just a controller.
Right.
What's up with that?
And there's still the debates about how powerful it is are going around. I think there's even conflicting statements coming out from Ubisoft in the past few days.
Well, what is it now that devs have underclocked
CPUs or something while they figure out how much they're gonna put in there? They're balancing the cost, I think.
I feel like Nintendo probably just hands people dev units and chops off the coder's right hand or something. Now make something.
Well, they showed up the real-time Zelda demo. that was running in real time.
Well, even their graphics showcase with the bird and the flower petals, that was nice.
Yeah, I don't believe those though. We saw some of those for the GameCube that I was like, oh my god, and then you actually see what the games look like.
Well, those first GoldenEye screenshots look so awesome.
Go back to the N64. Anything off the SGI workstations, those still look good. Today.
One thing I will say is that our best new IP category, we had problems finding 5 nominees for that category because there aren't any new IPs. But for me, I think I look across the entire show and think about all the games that were there, and true, we knew a lot about a lot of them beforehand, but I try to shut that out of my mind and just say what was there and what was the quality level. And to me, there were a ton of games that are of an extremely high level. Like literally what probably wound up shaking down to be 8s and above. It seemed like 80% of the games there were up to that quality.
You're totally right, but it's just that kind of Christmas morning or Hanukkah afternoon is just completely gone of just having like getting punched in the face repeatedly with like surprises.
Yeah, I would say surprises were a little absent.
Is that how Hanukkah works? I mean,
Yeah, and then you kill Jesus.
Okay.
Go!
All right, next we're going to talk about a game that I'm actually glad Marcus is not here to talk about.
But you shot on my Metacritic rating.
Yeah, I've told the story before on the show, but the original Fear. Remember when he was talking about, if you didn't read his Reset article last weekend, he was talking about the whole debacle with Duke Nukem and how the PR guy flew off the handle, blah, blah, blah. Well, Marcus was actually that guy calling me back when the original Fear came out, saying, well, we're not going to let you do this or that. That score is ridiculous. I gave it a 4 out of 5. He's acting like I gave it like a 1.
well, 4 out of 5 for Metacritic is like, the kids.
That's like 80, right? Yeah.
Was there even a Metacritic then?
Yeah.
There was,
I
yeah.
remember, yeah.
Did PR give a shit about it back then even?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Marcus did. He really did, dude. He let me have it, and I was like,
Ahead
sorry,
of the
bro.
curve, man.
I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, I'm not changing my score, so you're going to have to deal with it. And eventually he dealt with it, and we became friends, although we honestly were a little estranged for a while after that. He didn't want to deal with me. So here we are to talk about Fear 3. Justin, did you review the game? Who reviewed the game for us?
I guess I did.
Justin did review Fear.
I feel like I did.
I played a buttload of it to get the taste of Duke Nukem out of my mouth.
And I don't blame you, because I just played that, and I have to say is one of the worst games I've played in the last 5 years.
I think the conversation me and
Fear's a little
Justin had
better.
was Justin's like, I don't know about this game. I'm like, oh, no, this game's fucking great.
Yeah, it's a matter of perspective, I guess. But yeah.
So my first question is, does it still have the Fear aesthetic? You know what I'm talking about? It's like loud, great gun
Yes,
combat,
it's,
the scares.
The scares, I
it's
think, are
kind of
downplayed.
getting-
Yeah.
But
well, maybe they're downplayed, but it's the whole storyline stuff has gotten really convoluted and weird,
I would
and they're
say
really
retarded.
over the top. And they're like,
I never really
Alma's
quite understood it
pregnant
in the first
with some
place.
dude's child, and
Well, I
there's a
think
lot of-
I think Alma rapes the
hear a lot
character
of
at the
that.
end of Fear 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, no, I read something in Wikipedia, and it's like, this character must find the door to the sanctuary while he is having sex with Alma in real
Paxton
life to
Fettel.
find the keys and unlock the Guardians. Meanwhile, Point Man's cannibalistic telepath twin brother Fettel has.
Yeah, it's fucking
It is
dumb.
really, it's a little bit stupid. It's a little bit dumb, but I mean,
they have mech
it is
suits.
still.
They do have mech suits.
Yeah, no, but it still has the slow-mo gun combat and the slide kicking, and you'll be walking around, and then your vision will go all weird, and you'll hear weird sound effects. So I mean, it still has that. I think they've actually taken away from that a little bit by slapping in kind of a little mini achievement system that's like 5 out of 25 headshots. You picked up 60 pieces of ammo. Oh, great! I feel like I really did something. I picked shit up off the floor.
Yeah.
I am fucking owning this level.
It's the poster child for like everything that's right and everything that's wrong about achievements, because it affects how you play, which can be a good thing, like the pacifism achievement from Geometry Wars.
Right.
But then it's
It doesn't
retarded.
affect how I play. I just don't get the points.
Well, yeah, you level up, but the leveling's not too important.
Yeah, you do
but-
level up, and it's across single player and multiplayer, but really it's after the first level up where you earn the ability to slide kick. It's like you don't really get anything. Your slow-mo meter goes up
Health
a little bit.
regeneration.
It's like you can't
Yeah, some stuff.
really feel that you're getting more powerful. It's more like, you see rank 9 achieved.
But
and
it-
I'm like, what is this
What
really
does that
doing?
mean?
And why
Yeah.
is it,
Well,
in
you
a
get
intense
something-
firefight, you're like level 9, and so it's like, oh my god, it's so spooky. What the fuck is this guy doing? So it just exploded. It's like, I just ranked up.
At least numbers don't
scared?
pop out of the people.
Scared of my rank
But like
9?
you literally will you'll be like if you pick up 2 more ammo pickups, you'll get fucking points. So you'll like shoot a bullet, reload
Ryan,
your gun.
well, he's saying
Oh,
you will,
God.
but he means Ryan.
I will. 'Cause I'm
I played some
I'm
co-op
a horrible
with Ryan, though,
homunculus.
and The co-op is pretty fun. But it's
Isn't that the
second-
big twist? Is you have this partner that plays along with you?
Yeah, it's
Your undead brother.
yeah.
yeah, you're-
He's a ghost or some
It's
shit.
Paxton Fettel.
Oh, it
His
is Paxton
cannibalistic
Fettel.
telepath brother.
The bad guy from the first 2 games.
Yeah, he's the bad guy from the original game. Now he's like, hey, let's
Brother.
go
Let's
stop
team
Alma from
up.
giving birth or something. But actually, he has different play mechanics. He can levitate people with ghost power. He
Skin
can,
jack.
Yeah, he can hijack someone's body. He can blow them up from the inside and do. So actually, he's a lot more powerful because you can possess basically a guy with a gun, do that for a while. Then when you die, you can still do your own, psychic ghost death thing.
But if you play co-op, can you play local and online? How does that work?
I played
got everything.
online. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's got split
it has the
screen.
Drop in,
standard-
drop out,
standard
split
Swedish
screen.
stuff. Yeah, I played
System
online with Ryan, who actually had a day off, but he
Did one for the team.
yeah, He took one
Played
for the-
video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's a lot
Trying to
better
do
co-op.
laundry.
Yeah, I would say if it weren't for the second character, the guy who has slightly different mechanics, this series would really kind of be in trouble because they're really just kind of doing the same thing. It's the game's visibly aging. The new ideas they have they don't really contribute to
Oh,
a
and
horror element or a horror shooter. They're just like, we'll throw in some achievements and here's some weird multiplayer modes, which are kind of neat because the multiplayer uses like the ideas of possessing people, or you're being a specter, or you're trying to infect the rest of the squad, kind of like the Aliens mode.
Now, can you
where
infect
someone's-
a generator like in Geist?
You can't.
No
yeah,
inanimate
you
object.
can't possess a
Geist.
bowl
Let's
of
just have a
dog
Geist
food and
episode.
scare a dog, but you can shoot dogs. Well, they're not really dogs.
Flame hellhounds.
Of course not.
Yeah, you can shoot freak beasts with shotguns.
And
And
how
this
long is the
wasn't
campaign in this
Monolith.
game?
It really depends. And to me, I think the game playing by yourself on normal difficulties, it's fairly challenging. You need to use slow-mo a lot, and depending on your play style or how you want to do it, some of the fights could end up, taking a good while because you'll have to restart when you're fighting some of the big, mech bosses. They will kick your ass. But I mean, I don't know. It's about 8 hours, something, 8 to 12 hours, whatever the standard. I think it meets the standard. I don't know if Ryan would. Maybe some people are
I'd
saying
say
the
you're
game
gonna
is
kick
super
around
short.
at least an
but I
hour
mean,
on each level. But each level has a par time though, so that's why I think the internet's going insane, saying that the game's 4 hours long.
No.
I guess
if you're like speed running it, right?
If you're running the game backwards, doing backflips, then you.
Well,
could
Mike
probably-
Damiani can finish Ocarina of Time in 6 hours, so
Yeah.
he says. I mean, to me, that's a 20-some hour game when I play it. So,
yeah. So
what about the supernatural part? Is there more than just having the ghost as a sidekick? Is Alma in here? You're getting these weird like.
Well, there's the hellhound.
There's a bunch of stupid
Jimbo
kinda,
Jones from The Simpsons
dumb
attacks you with
shit.
knives.
Yeah. It's a little, I don't know. To me, the first Fear, I guess those elements are a lot more. They're kind of like, it's just flavoring the game a little bit. But now it's like really weird. I don't really understand. So you're fighting like this corporation. They're like, I guess they did all the experiments and they're responsible for everything. But everyone's they're trying to kill you, and you're just like shooting like 400 people. Like they're trying to destroy the evidence of whatever. It's like, the sky is like red, and the ground is exploding. And what are you trying to contain the evidence? But what are you doing? It's just they wanted to put like 800 armored troopers, to absorb your bullets and give you something to do,
shoot.
basically. It's a little bit disconnected. It's a little weird. There is some stuff where they're just like, and I'm like, oh no, screaming. It's freaking me out. Oh my god.
Is Alma in the game at all?
Yeah, she's sometimes you see her as a little girl, and sometimes she's like a really freaky looking pregnant woman, and she's just like hanging around like
Freaky licking pregnant woman?
freaky looking. But if she licked you, it'd probably be pretty freaky. She came up behind you
What about
and
her baby?
whispered in your ear.
So what do you think, man? And is there any reason to buy this game? Should
I
people
think that
rent
if
it
you're
and see they
already
like it?
sold on the Fear, because the kind of brand of combat, they do have a cover system now, which I guess, I don't know if Fear 2 had it or not.
No,
I
I don't
can't
think
remember.
so.
I don't think so. I mean, it works okay. So, I mean, they're trying to keep up. It's the same kind of slow motion, do aiming, shooting guys in the heads, the slide kicks. It's the same stuff. It's still pretty good. The game doesn't look as good, but I mean, if you dig that kind of combat, there's nothing really wrong with it.
But would you recommend someone wait for a Gears 3 or an Uncharted 3 versus buying this game?
I mean,
The perspective
for a first-person shooter, it's better than.
Well,
Duke
it has
Nukem.
cover though, right?
Yeah,
It is. You stay in first person. It's a little bit like the Killzone.
You get like 1,000
Oh,
points.
so you stay
That's
in,
so dumb.
So
Shut
you
up.
stay in first person while you're in cover. You don't go to.
Yeah, it's like Killzone.
better than Duke Nukem, you
yeah,
said?
it's similar to Killzone. But yeah, if you want to cleanse your palate after Duke Nukem, this would do it. It's a decent game.
It's like
There's-
underhanded praise
It's
right
not
there.
bad. I'm sure that since I'm not, loving the game, people are going to be like in the review thread, they'll be like, GT, you guys only like Call of Duty. I mean, shut up. The game's okay. The game's okay. It's okay. You should totally check it out if you want to.
Gentlemen and goblins, order!
Next up on the docket, Dungeon Siege 3. Did they need to make a sequel to Dungeon Siege 2?
Why not? You know,
Why not?
Why
It's the
not?
games industry. What are you talking about?
The question is probably, did they need to make this sequel to that?
Right.
Yeah, this is made by Obsidian, whereas the originals were made. Well, most of the originals were made by Gas Powered Games. And
Obsidian.
yeah, they're the guys who made New Vegas, Alpha Protocol, Neverwinter Nights 2. I like their
Not
games.
exactly an excellent pedigree.
Well, no, I like their games generally. I played a lot of New Vegas, thought it was
But
excellent.
most of them are busted.
They come out
broken,
They come out
buggy.
shitty, but I didn't play New Vegas until like a month and a half after it came out, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
Neverwinter Nights 2, I did play that immediately, and yeah, it was kind of jacked, but you know, it wasn't jacked in the sense that it prevented me from playing it. I guess I'm one of the lucky ones.
You were. Yeah.
This game is not jacked in that way. It's just sort of, it's kind of hobbled by design, which is unfortunate. I don't expect a whole lot from these loot games. They don't need that much to be competent. I think they have to have a cool character progression system, which this has. Is decent. There has to be an incentive to keep playing beyond, you know, however long it takes you to get through it, which this doesn't have. And it has to have, in my opinion, a decent way to play online and level up your own character, which it utterly fails at that.
How? How can you fail?
I don't know.
at
I think
that?
they said that they weren't going to fuck it up, and then they fucked it up. So I was kind of disappointed.
Well, yeah,
How do you screw it up?
the online just doesn't work very well. It's basically if you hop in to play if you join someone's game online, you can't take your own character into it. You're essentially playing one of their version of the
You're
characters.
kidding me.
Yeah. So let's say Shane, leveled up all of his dudes to level 10. When you jump in and play Shane's game, you're playing Shane's version of Reinhardt or Anjali or
Really?
whatever. Yeah, and any loot you get
That completely lacks any incentive to play then. You want to level up your character.
if you want to play
There's
the
no
game.
persistence when you visit, basically, for yourself.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
If you want to play with your friends, like 4 of them, and just mess around for a night, then you could do that. But yeah, if you want it to,
now, is this something they're fixing and they're saying, okay, we need to get that in
I don't
the
know.
game, or is that just the way it is?
I don't think they are. I think
Really?
that's just how it works. Yeah.
And do you get to keep your loot or anything like that?
If you're the host, you get to keep your loot, but
You're the host.
otherwise,
You get to keep the loot other people pick up, I guess, presumably, and then stick it to your versions
Yeah.
of those characters.
Well, anyway,
Now, what about the PC version? Is it handled the same way?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, basically like
Wow.
this is a dungeon hack and slash game, and I guess they wanted to, rather than focus on the things that these games traditionally focus on, they wanted to sort of make it an Obsidian style game with
They did put some RP in there, didn't they?
yeah, there's a lot of dialogue trees and a more sort of involving story, which I appreciate the effort, but in this game I think it came off a little bit like Gilding the Lily. I don't think it added much to it. There are points where the plot somewhat changes depending on if you, for instance, kill or spare a character. You'll see that play out in like cutscenes later, but at least in my playthrough, I didn't really see anything that monumentally changed anything.
Now, when you play by yourself, then the CPU controls the other characters. How does the CPU?
Well, you can play co-op with another person who's right there. I did play a little bit with my wife. So if you're both in the same place, I mean, you have to
It's
share the
pretty
screen.
it's
and
pretty
you
separate
can't
characters
Zoom
that
options,
level up.
but you level up and you go along and you wouldn't notice anything's wrong. And I do think that the combat in the game is pretty good. You can actually roll, dodge things. It's really
Sure,
active
yeah,
style
it
combat.
works on that level.
It's not a bad game on that level, but yeah, in terms of playing online, they really.
Now, how does the CPU handle itself when you're playing by yourself?
It's kind of stupid. Like, it'll stand in traps, and it'll, an enemy will throw down an aura that messes you up, and it won't really move so effectively. It is pretty good. Like, when you die, the way the game works is one of your partners can come and revive you. The AI is usually pretty good at stopping what it's doing after like 5 seconds and going to res you, but
Sometimes that's too late.
They also pick up
It
the
is.
gold and whatnot for you, so they'll
right,
do,
yeah,
they'll do some
that
like, run work
it's
or
like
whatever.
it's like one of those RoboVacs that goes around your living room.
Now, do you have any ability to influence what they do at all?
No, they're just. I mean, you could.
Well, you choose how to buff their abilities
You
or
level
whatever,
them
so
up
it's-
basically. So if you want them to perform a certain role, you do have the chance to determine that.
Now, these games are kind of few and far between anymore. In fact, a lot of them have sort of turned to DLC releases. Do you think there's any reason for people who even really like this genre to pay full price for this game?
I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah.
personally, and I like these games. And like I said, what I expect from them is pretty much what they've been doing for years. It's not like I have inflated expectations.
Right.
I had fun playing it, to be honest. Decent enough fun. Like I played it.
Either you like those kind of games and you have that gene
Uh-huh.
that propels you to keep collecting loot, or
Right.
you don't. But if you're the type of person that has it, and I honestly do have it, like I'm like, I want to play it, but you guys are kind of
Don't buy it. No, I would say borrow it or rent it.
Yeah.
You could at least check it out. I think that actually playing the game is fun, like mechanically. So for me, that's that goes a long way.
The bullet train is here, Hell Monkey. As if you mortals can be saved with.
All right, so here is one of the games I'm more disappointed in than a lot of others. And truth be told, we probably all should be, or I guess we all kind of ended up with egg on our face. We pushed this game hard for quite a while, just based upon the people who are making it. And that
Well, I don't
game-
know. People,
No, man,
people
every
told me that I
invisible
was
walls are
too
like, this
down
looks
on
like
it.
shit.
Like, why
Well,
are you
no,
shitting
after we
on
got
this
to
game?
play it, but we put in our most anticipated blah, blah, blah. We're like,
yeah, yeah.
can't wait to see this game from Mikami and Suda and Shadow of the Damned. We've got the review up. The word's out now. It is not especially good.
No, but the thing is, I'm kind of surprised that it's been kind of divisive, and like I'm like, you guys playing the same game I play?
I've had that happen a few times.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, it's definitely very rough around the edges. There's like a lot of constant texture load-ins, some kind of dumb AI moments.
You could see that just by walking by and watching someone play it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and the humor is always kind of a weird thing to judge. To me, I thought this stuff just kind of fell flat. I felt like it was trying too hard.
But then Marcus is tweeting over the weekend, "Oh my God, laughing my ass off!
I think
Funniest
it's
game ever."
his kind of humor, I
Yeah,
guess.
but I mean, I thought House of the Dead Overkill was funny and it was going
Yeah.
for kind of the same vibe. So I don't know. It's kind of weird on that.
Honestly, I didn't find it funny either. I mean, I played parts of it at different trade shows, and I thought all the jokes fell flat. But to each their own as far as comedy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just some of the stuff. I mean, it's just like it's almost like too obvious. It's like, oh, yeah, I got the hot boner now. That's my new gun. Yeah.
So let's talk about the game proper.
Yeah, I mean, the play is kind of on a similar level to like Resident Evil 4. It kind of has that same over the shoulder. You're aiming with the laser sight on the gun. You can move around, and there's a lot of emphasis on dodging and hitting out like quick melee attacks if guys get too close to you, and getting those headshots. Definitely feels kind of awkward at first. When I first picked up the game, it was like I cannot hit anything with this aiming setup. But as I moved on, and put some time into it, it was fine.
How is the game structured? Is it like a level by level thing? Is it
Yeah,
a free
that's the way it
flowing
is.
game?
It's a straight up level by
Straightforward,
level, and the thing that annoys me is that even within a level, you can't really go backward. There's like checkpoints constantly.
Doors closed behind you.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
doors
blah.
closed behind you.
I didn't mention that for Fear, but that does happen in Fear all the time. You went to a room with like 20 Special Forces guys in it, and then you're like, oh shit, maybe I could go. And it's like, nope. Someone locked it.
You're
It was a ghost.
screwed.
A ghost did it.
Ghost lock.
And
That's
you
probably Shadows of
want
the Damned,
to
too,
you want to look
Demons.
for your upgrades and stuff like that. So you're always trying to guess like, okay, which path is the right path and which is the side stuff, And sometimes you get that wrong. It's like, oh crap, well, there's like a chest or something over there. I didn't get it open. Can I go back there? No, I can't.
And normally that might incentivize you to play it again if the game were enjoyable.
From a
I don't
gameplay
think
stance, it's not
terribly bad.
It's not
I mean,
terribly
it's okay.
unenjoyable or anything like
everything
that.
works at least. The shooting
Yeah.
works. It's a little weird. The puzzles work. They're a little derivative, but
Yeah, I mean, mild spoiler though. The final boss is like just stands in the middle of the room. It's like no real guesswork as far as like.
That's funny because some of the first like mini bosses that I saw Justin fight and I fought at a couple events were kind of challenging.
Yeah, the earlier bosses seemed way more interesting to me than it was. They got later on. They just kind of like.
Sounds like they
gave
guys
up.
kind of
They're like,
ran out of
"Just shoot
steam
this
in the
dude."
game and just kind of spread it out.
are there any
entirely.
bosses where you have to use the exploding pistol shot or the hot boner sticky goo, whatever they call it?
Right. I think there might have been. The game also has a lot of emphasis on like the light and dark, more towards the beginning, especially where it's basically when you're in the dark, your power's being drained, and basically you can't hurt the demons, and they'll come out of the darkness and be cloaked in darkness, and you have to hit them with a light shot before you can actually kill them. But they have all these mechanics in there to where like you have to jump into the darkness to like hit certain switches and things like that, and be able to wound certain enemies, or sometimes you have to actually let an enemy make the room dark to kill another enemy and that kind of thing.
How's the story? A joke, I'm guessing.
Garcia Hotspur goes to hell.
I think he's named after an English lord, actually.
To rescue his girlfriend who was captured by the demon lord Fleming, and basically
Fleming looks kind of cool though.
you keep seeing the girl like through the whole game, and she just keeps getting killed over and over in like gruesome ways, and then he's like in
It's
tears,
horrible.
like talking to her decapitated head, and he's like, why is this happening to me? And so
Happening
like,
to
"Oh, my
you?
bad, baby."
I just lost my head, bitch.
no, yeah, I mean, she's the one talking.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, so-
Trying to torture you, and
He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't keep you from dying."
and like halfway through the game,
again, I'm so sorry.
they kind of drown her, and then she becomes an enemy, and she's like chasing you through the woods and stuff, and if she kisses you, you die, but they don't really explain why. But
Just like real life.
yeah, I just
Girls.
and and there's giant naked women that you run across, and all kinds of other bizarre stuff. The game does actually.
So who
It's
is
a
this
thing to
game
do.
more like? More like Mikami or Suda?
It's a really even blend. I mean, because you see like those Resident Evil 4 kind of things in there, but then you just have like this bizarre
You know,
stuff. It's like,
Suda is not the director of the game. I think that's people might have some misconceptions on who is really
Maybe because
creative vision
EA
behind
sent
the
them out
game.
to do interviews for the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm not, trying to bring up this guy's name, but it's an Italian dude named Massimo. So he's the creative director for the game.
Who
So
we
I think-
never met. I never met.
Yeah, I mean, Suda's high up.
I don't even know how much he's in the opening credits.
Yeah, but I mean, how much are these people really involved? How much is it really?
Is this kind of like when
Their games.
Steven Spielberg presents Tiny
Right.
Toons?
I think it
So
might
you
be
can just
kind
get
of like
paid
that.
$2 million. And
I think it might be kind of like that.
Yeah. Who should buy this?
People that have
Fans.
people that have checked it out
Fans.
and liked it. I mean, I don't think that you should just blindly go in and think this is going to be a great game for you. I think you should,
So rent it first, no matter what.
just check it out. If you think it's funny, if it appeals to you, if you like it, then go ahead and buy it.
I mean,
then.
if you're watching the videos, you're like, "Oh, that's awesome!"
But I think
that's
there's a-
hilarious. The game's not. It's not hard to play. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like, "Oh, this. Why is this not working?" Everything
Yeah,
works okay.
It's
So you
definitely
can
really
enjoy
rough
it.
around the edges, though.
Is it a long game?
No, it's not a long game. It's again an average
Normal.
8 to 10 hour, and there's no reason to go back and play it again.
What did you
except for
end
all
up?
those
Hey,
chests that you missed.
hey,
right?
hey, Blood. What'd you end up upgrading?
Um,
Because to me, the upgrades, everything has like
I stuck with
20 points
I
in
mean,
it, so it's impossible to
health,
upgrade
of course. I had health and the
I didn't
light
upgrade
shot
those.
and the main gun, the boner, hot boner, whatever.
Does the boner get better when you? For
We're
the third
laughing at
level,
it
the
now.
third level boner I never got.
We had to hear it 4 times before we laughed at it.
I was pretty.
But not really.
third
The
level
hot boner
boner.
is pretty much it for the boner.
Really, I wasn't too impressed by the weapon. I used the rapid fire weapon.
And
for
just so
about
people
everything.
understand, each of these weapons like shoots a different so there's the boner actually shoots bones.
What is the
And
rapid
then
Teeth
fire?
are
one that
shoots
shoots
teeth.
skulls, it's like a grenade launcher, and
the
there's another one that
The
shoots
rapid
teeth.
fire is like the nut buster.
No, the rapid fire is the teeth one, but the other ones like their names change constantly, so you can never know what to
Teeth
call
and a
it.
boner, lethal
I
combination.
think the highest level on the teeth one is called the dentist.
I'll be a dentist.
So it
good.
sounds like most people
It's a
should
good
probably
gun.
rent this. Only people who are really into sort of bizarre games should think about buying it.
Yeah, I mean it's an okay game. It's not a great game.
So for our last game today, we are going to talk about a game I said I would not play, and I actually ended up lying. I have spent some time playing this game, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D. I was bored one night, saw it sitting there on the counter, popped it in my 3DS.
Hey,
Just couldn't
listen.
resist, huh?
Well, I played it
Hey.
for about 3 hours, and
Shane,
Hey,
listen.
I played it for about 3 hours, and that's kind of where I stopped. I don't think I'll go back to it, but I will say I was impressed with the game in general. I was also impressed with how well it has held up. Now, Mike Damiani has just popped into the show to talk about this. He reviewed it for us. Quite an arduous review process for us. Can't go into the details on why our review is so late. All I can say is trust us, it was not our fault. What are your impressions of this game? I mean, the game was pretty much the first unanimous perfect 10 in the history of the industry. I think it's still the highest rated Metacritic game.
Yeah, and Metacritic and game rankings. I think Metacritic doesn't do the decimal points, but game
Right.
rankings, that's where it's been dethroned for a short amount of time, but it's still retained the top spot in the long run. But I mean, it's held up well. You hit it perfectly
Yeah.
right there. I mean, I was surprised to see that, like, despite it playing almost exactly like it does as a 13-year-old game, it still feels very good to play that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that speaks volumes to how well that game was designed.
Well, I
in
think
the
it shows
first
you how
place.
revolutionary that game was.
And Z-targeting is some good shit.
It is, really. I mean, that's why it's been copied in every freaking game since, pretty much. And it works flawlessly there.
Yeah, I mean, they did some the WADA ass segments, and we got to see, like, how the development process was, and it seems like it was a bit of, like, a little chaotic, and they're flying by the seat of their pants when they're developing that game, and the fact that it turned out the way it did is
hard to believe.
I mean, seeing how it was developed and stuff, it's just amazing how it turned out. And again,
The original
the N64 one, and this isn't a full-blown remake. It isn't like a Wii U HD remake, or the people have been clamoring for Final Fantasy VII HD remake. It's more of like an upgrade to the existing game, so it's more of an enhanced port. As I said, things still play the same way as they did before. Like, the physics mechanics still feel familiar. They just added a few tweaks here and there. It's mostly the visuals. Everything, it's been like retextured. Things look crisp on that small screen. I mean, that's helping it out there, but it does look pretty good on that screen.
Yeah, it does.
And Link's model. They did a lot of work on Link's model there to make it look good. They didn't do as much work to some of the other parts of the game. There are some parts that still look like they're 13 years old, but in general, it does look pretty good, but not pushing any limits of the system there.
I would say one thing I noticed about the game where the industry has kind of moved on and moved forward is that, and I'm not saying this is good or bad, but the game doesn't hold your hand, doesn't tell you where to go or what to do. It kind of does, but I noticed, like, I turned it off, I ate dinner, and I came back and I was like, where am I supposed to be going again?
You gotta wait for Navi to kick in.
Right. You can find one of those stones that kind of show you a hint or whatever, but it's like now games would have marked that on the map with a big star, and there's like an arrow on the ground pointing you how to get there.
I think from that to
breadcrumbs.
Wind Waker, Zelda got really bad with Wind Waker. They're like, you picked up a rupee. You can use rupees to spend, you can spend your rupees and buy things. You picked up a piece of heart. And every time you pick up a piece of heart, this is like my 40th piece of heart. I know what it does. It's cool. I
like this.
Your life bar will increase by 1 heart.
You'd open the treasure chest and it'd only have like 10 rupees and be like, I guess that's okay. This kind of sucks.
So that was the one thing. Like,
999.
and again, I think it's up to opinion. I kind of appreciate that slow pace, being able to kind of go at it. And this is obviously, you're saying you're crazy because you know that game inside and out and can finish it in like a handful of hours. Me, I haven't played it since I played the Master Quest many years ago, so I don't exactly remember how to get through everything, and I did find myself kind of wandering around, sort of running across like Hyrule Field, and I'm like, where am I supposed to go?
Did you catch any Poes?
No, I did actually catch a Poe. But
that's my favorite thing in the game.
But other than that, like, the game really holds up. It is still a real high quality game.
Exactly. I mean,
it's huge. Not for you, but for the rest of the world.
No, it's still sparse.
It's still it's still
important because like, I don't know, I played the Perfect Dark HD remake and I couldn't get over, like, the game was still fun, but I couldn't get over like the geometry being so sparse. Hyrule Field is still, I think,
horrible looking.
It's lacking. Yeah. I mean, I think, they really corrected that with, well, not even really corrected it, but I think Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess did a pretty good job in beefing out the overworld that we knew from, Link to the Past and the original Zelda.
I mean, they didn't add too much to it. I mean, they seemed really hellbent on like keeping it very faithful, and that might be the only real mistake this game makes, is that it doesn't try and push enough new content. I mean, they were worried probably that they would trip up the experience and some people would not like it, but I mean, they threw in the boss rush. You can replay bosses, which a lot of people have been like, wanting for a while. But they didn't put any new dungeons or anything like that caliber in there, so it's pretty faithful.
It has the Master Quest, but you have to finish it, the original version, before the Master Quest is unlocked.
Yeah, I think I'm going to end up borrowing this game just because of that.
Yeah, you wait for someone else to finish it first so you can play the Master Quest.
Yeah.
It probably does deserve the title of the best game of all time. If it was released that long ago, and looking at the standards of games, how they've moved over a decade, and it still is in the upper echelon of software, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. There's like almost no
Better
games
than
that do
Call
that.
of Duty?
Are you crazy?
Better than Demon's Souls, huh?
Fuck you.
So, I mean, bottom line is, if you have a 3DS, if you haven't played this game already, definitely buy it. Without a doubt. It is the best 3DS game available. If you have a 3DS and you have played it in the past, and you're sick of watching that piece of electronics sit there and collect dust, probably still worth buying because it's a huge game. You'll forget a ton about the game. It is huge. So you're going to forget a lot of the scenarios, a lot of the characters you meet, a lot of the little nuances of the game. Probably the first must-buy for the 3DS. Would you agree, Mike?
Yeah, this is the one where you need to jump in.
All right, that's it for episode 165. Pretty good episode today, guys. Although I think, Justin, what did you coin this episode? The episode of mediocrity?
The okay episode.
The okay. It was okay. Lots of okay games. Fear 3, Dungeon Siege 3, Shadows of the Damned, Zelda being the exception, of course. Talked about our Best of E3 awards. Pretty good show.
Could also be the 3 episode.
That's right. Pretty much any episode could be the 3 episode at this point because every major franchise is up to its 3rd iteration right now. Anyway, we did miss Marcus a little bit. Maybe not. I'm kidding. Marcus, Godspeed to you. Hope you get better. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Invisible Walls is up and out. What's up, everyone? We have a special gift for those of you who stuck around after the close of the show today. We have 100 beta codes for Uncharted 3, but here's the catch. The only people who can get these codes are people who add us as a new follow on Twitter. So that's at Invisible Walls on Twitter. We'll be giving them away all weekend. So once you add us, send us the message and we'll get you a code.